All right, so I just took attendance. So what we're going to do for the rest of class, I have a review Kahoot to review what we learned with our peppered moth activity on Monday. So we're going to start off with that. After that, I have a few more slides as I talk a little bit more about natural selection and how it works. And then we're going to jump right into a lab, the bird beak adaptation lab. So as a reminder, because we've only said it like a trillion times, but as a reminder, evolution is how, natural selection is how evolution happens. And natural selection just says that organisms that are best adapted for their environment are going to be the ones that survive and then reproduce, right? We talked a little bit about Darwin, how he's the father of evolution because he went on this journey, saw all these different finches with different beaks, and he started thinking, why is it like that? So really quickly, I want to talk about the steps that natural selection has to kind of go through. Natural selection happens in 4 steps: overproduction, variation, competition, and selection. Oops. So the first one, super simple, is overproduction. In order for natural selection to happen, species have to make more babies than they know will survive, because you have to at least make sure that some do survive. For instance, if you just have one baby, the chances of that one baby dying are very great, and then you can't pass off your genes. Right. If like frogs, they lay millions of eggs because they know, because of predators, because of food scarcity, not all million will survive. Yeah. Maybe not millions, probably thousands. Thousands probably more accurate than millions. But things like frogs, I mean, all animals usually have more babies than they know will survive, to ensure that some do. All right, this is another important one, is variation. So each individual has a very unique combination of inherited traits. I mean, if you look around this room, we are all part of the same species of animal, but we look very different. And not only do we look very different, we behave differently as well. All of these unique combinations make sure that we are able to survive, at least some of us. That's a bad example because humans survive a lot. But if we are in the animal kingdom, some of our traits will be more helpful than others. So we can also, I like your mask. So we could also talk about adaptations here. And adaptations are just inherited traits that increase the organism's chance for survival. So it's just a trait that better helps them survive in their environment. So variation is really important because environments change. And that's true for every single living thing. Even as humans, and we have a lot of ability to kind of control things, we can't control things like the weather. We can't control other people. So we have to be able to adapt to colder temperatures, hotter temperatures, other people's behaviors around us, whether it's dangerous or safe. The more variation that we have in our population, the more likely that someone is going to survive. If we were all the same and we came up to a change that really, really was difficult for us to get through, if we were all the same and we were not able to adapt to this change, we would all die. And that's not successful at all. Having a variety ensures that some will survive at least. Cool. The third one is competition. All animals, all plants, all living things compete to survive. They have to compete for resources like food, shelter, water, mates. All of these things are limited. We don't have an unlimited amount of resources. So they have to fight with each other to get it. This is where the term survival of the fittest comes in. So that's why saying the fittest in a situation isn't always like the most physically fit. It's not always the fastest, it's not always the biggest, it's not always the strongest. Sometimes being able to be really small and hide is more advantageous. Sometimes being the fastest is helpful. It just depends on where you are, your environment, the predators, all that stuff. So the survival of the fittest, being fit just means that you're able to survive to reproduce. And not all individuals will make it into adulthood. So this is kind of like the gruesome truth of the animal, well, just all living things. We all fight to survive, and not all of us are going to make it. Yeah. And the last one is selection. So the best traits are going to be the best ones. And natural selection usually works on phenotypes, like physical characteristics. So are you faster? Do you look more attractive to mates? All of those things definitely help with natural selection. All right. So like I said, natural selection, best adapted for your environment. You get to survive and reproduce. Today, we're going to be looking at adaptations. So adaptations is a biological mechanism in which organisms have to adjust to new or changing environments in order to survive. So I mentioned that Darwin saw finches having different sized beaks and was curious as to why that was. Sure do. So today's date is the 7th. So you'll go to that page and it's the Bird Beak Adaptations Lab. Okay, so at the top of this page, it says the goal is to learn about advantages and disadvantages of variations. We are simulating birds with different types of beaks competing to eat different types of foods. Okay, so in front of you on your little paper towel, you should have macaroni, paper clips, toothpicks, and rubber bands. You should also have 4 cups, and you should also have a tweezer, a pair of scissors, a spoon, and a binder clip. Okay, so before we start, under procedure for number 1 is what I know. So it says, write a sentence or 2 about what you already know about the word adaptation. So tell me what you know about adaptations, adapting, or anything that has to do with that word. Just write it down right there. A little explanation as to what is going to happen here soon. So there are 4 of you to a group. There are 4 different beaks. Go ahead and choose which beak you want to be your beak. So choose the scissors, the tweezers, the spoon, or the binder clip. All right, so these things are your beaks. You're going to use this to eat the food. Go ahead and make sure that every one of you has a clear cup. Grab a clear cup, put it in front of you. In a little bit, I'm going to give you a specific amount of time, 30 seconds, that you are going to be on the hunt. You're going to be on the hunt, and you're going to be trying to eat food, trying to survive, you know? So you're going to use your beak, grab as much food as you can and put it into your stomach. Your stomach has to remain upright, and it has to remain near you, okay? So before we do that, now that you know what to do or what is happening, number 7 on your predictions, on your procedures, has you make a prediction. For number 7, is everyone looking at number 7? Number 7 says, make a prediction that states which will be the best type of bird beak for each type of food and explain why. So for paper clips, do you think that the scissors, the tweezers, the spoon, or the binder clip is going to be the best, and why? Okay, go ahead and make a prediction for paper clips, rubber bands, toothpicks, and the pasta. For those of you on Zoom, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms, and you're going to join one of my 4 groups. Their job, they've been told, is to make sure that you can see what they're doing and talk to you about what has been going on and kind of help you through this activity. So I'm going to go ahead and put you out into breakout rooms.
Wait, we're ready. Oh my god, I'm not even. I can't pick up anything. Oh, dude, the first time I'm about to try.
Oh, sorry. So, the pasta fucking sucks. I fucking hate pasta.
Me too, dude. I hate everything. Oh, I got one.
Oh, they can hear us.
I don't even have anything. This is even of nothing.
You're not even trying.
Aubrey, I'm trying not to cry.
All right.
You fucking
On your worksheet, write a short summary of what you just did. Start on the back of that front page for number 9. has two data tables. The first data table is your individual stuff. So you'll write down under type of beak, which beak you had, and then you're going to count your stomach. What all did you get? How many paper clips, how many rubber bands, how many toothpicks, and how many macaroni? When you have counted the contents of your own stomach, I want you to share with your group what they got as well. So
What did you get?
class data. You're going to talk to the person in your group who has the spoon beak. Ask them how many paper clips, rubber bands, toothpicks, and macaroni they got. You're going to talk to the binder clip beak. Ask them what they got.
Get out.
Okay. Okay, guys, this is our data we collected.
2, 5, 4.
Count all the contents of your stomachs.
Yes.
Like this?
Just like that. I'm showing them the data. Oh, here.
After I draw up my contents, then yes.
That's not my stomach, but that's my
You want my mouth?
I would love to be.
Wait, can you still see this? I feel like I'm moving so much.